Hey, good morning. This is Jeff with Builder's Edge, and looking at a MacGregor this morning. We just had this boat in and did a service on the engine. These are kind of unique boats. It's a planing hull sailboat, so it's kind of trailable and also planes. You can see some videos of YouTube with them running on plane with their mast up. It's kind of a unique sight to see a sailboat going that fast. Interesting craft. So just some features on this motor I want to talk to you real quick about. One thing is with any outboard engine, your fuel, keeping good fuel in these things is critical. And this one's got a portable tank, which is good and bad. So the portable tank gives you the option, if you ever let it sit for too long, you can just pull that tank out, take it down, and there are places in your town that will accept used fuel. I know for us in Titusville, the transfer station will, and some of the firehouses might have to check into that again, but the transfer station definitely will. So you can always just start with fresh fuel. That way you're not fighting and adding a bad element into the mix. So, and when I say good fuel, looking at wanting to run wreck fuel, ethanol-free fuel, especially in the marine field and in Florida, it's so humid here. The alcohol or the ethanol in the pumping fuels will just draw the moisture out of the air and cause you all kinds of issues because it suspends the water in the fuel. You'll have all kinds of issues with runnability and just poor performance and that kind of thing. So there are some things built in, so water separating fuel filter. These can trap, about up to there, and then after that, the water will get into the rest of the system. So that's your first leg of defense. And your second leg of defense is this little guy here. There's no alarm on this one, so it's a visual reference. So it's a orange float ring in there. So the water will always end up on bottom. And when the water ends up bottom, they'll start pushing that float ring up. So if you ever open the cowling and look, and your little orange ring is about halfway up or all the way up, you got water in your fuel, it's time to address that. So a couple little things on this motor, if you're the owner, that you should be keeping an eye on. And one is oil level. So oil is always, not always, but usually marked with yellow. So that's your oil fill, and then your oil dipstick. Check these things multiple times to get an accurate reading. So sometimes the first time you check it, the reading will look a little off. And it just has to do with like pressure in those little tube areas. So just check it multiple times, you'll get a good feel for it. Another thing on this guy, this is oil drain. If you're ever changing your oil itself, beware when you open that up, it comes out fast. So be ready to capture that. And then on these motors, keep an eye on your prop. So when we do a service, we pull and grease the prop shafts. But if you ever see fishing line wrapped around your prop, you must pull that prop shaft or that prop off and get that fishing line off that shaft. What happens is when you get fishing line on your shaft like that, it'll work its way into the propeller shaft seals and eventually just rip the seals out, and then you'll have a gear lube leak and potentially water going into your gear case. If it's not addressed right away, you could potentially ruin your gear case. So you'll see it all the time, especially if you're boating where a lot of people are fishing, even if you're not a fisherman. If you ever get fishing line wrapped around that prop or anything here, remove that. It's just like a power pan and then that. Remove that prop and clean that fishing line off. One other little feature on this I want to point out that gets you out of a jam. So say you're sailing and the trim motor wasn't working for some reason, or your battery's dead or whatever, and you need to get this motor up. There's a manual release right here on the port side of the transom bracket. So see, it says manual right here, and it has this little directional arrows. So it's going to be clockwise. You're going to turn it clockwise. That's a retaining ring in there to keep you from backing it all the way out. So you don't want to back it all the way out because fluid will come out, but you just basically turn clockwise until you're touching the retaining ring, and then manually lift or lower the motor, whichever direction you need to go if you ever had a trim issue. So those are just some things to know before you go to kind of keep you out of trouble and keep you safe on the water and working your way through whatever issues may come up. Have a great day and talk to you soon.